Welcome, everyone. Good to know that there's people here wanting to meditate together. It was interesting. I was talking to someone recently, and that was we're talking about meditating in a group, and there's this group energy, you know, and for me, it's very difficult to imagine, but I definitely experience it when we're in a group. There's you're not alone, and even if we are together and everyone's just completely spacing out, um, there's an energy there, and there's some transformation. So it must be positive. So anyway, I think it's good to meditate individually, but also in groups are very important. So last week we started looking at the um, taking refuge. What are these objects of refuge, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha? Getting a little more familiar with them. And so we'll continue that journey today. We'll get a little um, go a little deeper and look at what does it actually mean to take refuge in these objects. First, we just bring ourselves into this session, whatever we were doing before. Maybe we just woke up, or we had breakfast, or maybe we've been up all night. Doesn't matter. We're just going to put all that to the side and bring our attention into this session. Our body's here. Our screen is on. The internet's working. But we want to bring our attention to the session. It's always good to make sure that the body's a bit settled. You might have some racing energy from whatever we were doing before. We want to settle the body and allow us to access our mind more clearly, because our body can become a distraction. So we can just check our base, our feet and our legs, all the way up to our sitting bones, and check that we have a solid foundation, whether we're sitting in the chair or on the cushion, or where you have to lay down. Making sure that foundation is solid, because everything is built on top of that. We have tension in our feet or our knees, just and we adjust a bit and we relax them. And on top of this foundation, we have our back, or maybe our spine, made up of all these vertebrae, and they're all stacked on top of each other, almost in a perfect straight line, all the way up the back, through the shoulders and the neck. Imagine it extends through the crown of the head. There's a straight line built on our foundation. And then we have our head that's slightly tilted forward. Because if the crown of the head is pointing up, it slightly tilts forward, and the neck is sorry, the chin is tucked in slightly. But our jaw is relaxed. No tension in the jaw. We release the jaw. And we can place our tongue at the back of the upper teeth, kind of the roof of the mouth. And that helps us to not have to swallow as much as a distraction during meditation. And then we relax our eyes. We're not squinting, we're not squeezing, we're just have our eyes relaxed. Eyelids slightly open, just allowing in a little light, but not so much that we can actually discern objects. We might see a bit of movement, but we can't really discern if there's a cup in front of us or a book. We relax our shoulders, arms are gently hanging to the side. Then we can have our palms facing down on our knees, if you like, or you can bring the hands together in your lap. Put the right hand on top of the left, and the thumbs are touching. Called the mudra of concentration. The last thing to do, we have the body in the best position, then just the sensation of relaxing all those muscles. Now you're in position, just kind of let go. Don't have to hold it. And now the thoughts start to arise. We've reduced this physical body distraction. Now that get all the thoughts. So we bring our attention to our breath. This inhale, exhale, or this rising or and falling of the abdomen. We just observe it just for a minute or so. Just observe this inhale and exhale. Not thinking about anything else. There's nothing else to do right now, but for 60 seconds to observe our breath, starting now. We bring to mind our motivation, um, reason of being here. So we can bring to mind this bodhicitta motivation, the the thought that all sentient beings, all the humans, the non-humans, the insects, the reptiles, they're all suffering in samsara. They all seek happiness and wish to avoid or not experience suffering. They just want to be happy. So our bodhicitta motivation is that may I uh, develop myself, develop my mind, become enlightened, overcome all obscurations, overcome all suffering, so that I can know the minds of other sentient beings. And with this knowing, with this knowledge, then I can guide them myself to this enlightenment and alleviate their suffering. It's not just a personal goal, but a altruistic goal. That I'm not just doing it for myself alone, but I'm doing it for all the suffering beings. So that's the motivation. That's what propels us through our practice, through our sessions. So today we're looking at this refuge, and we're looking at the manner of going through refuge. And next week we'll look at the practice. How do we do it in practice? So so we have the three jewels, and these three jewels we've established, uh, they can act as these objects of refuge. So they're there, but from our side, from our own side, we have to develop the faith. We have to develop the faith in their power. And doing this, we have to turn our mind completely towards them. And it's when we develop this faith and we turn our mind towards them, then the thought of refuge actually arises in our mind. So we need to have no doubt that through this refuge, we're able to accumulate this extremely vast amount of merit and and uh, and be able to eliminate all the possibility of being born into lower realms. So I think from our side, we need to understand this faith. It's not a blind faith, right? We're not just blindly showing respect to these three jewels and taking refuge in them. But we have to have this faith of conviction that we've checked the Buddha, we've studied the Buddha, we've seen what the Buddha has done, and we come to our own conclusion that yes, the Buddha is an object of refuge, without a doubt. So we have to do that analysis. We have to do that checking. So our faith becomes direct in our minds, not superficial and not blind. It's kind of like having the feeling saying, oh, yes, yes, of course. The Buddha is my refuge. The Dharma is my refuge. The Sangha are my refuge. So in some of the commentaries on the refuge, they use different stories and analogies. One of the analogies is that they say if refuge had a form, so we can imagine refuge having a form. But right now we're talking about the refuge is a conviction, a mindset. So if refuge had a form, then the whole world could not even contain it. It'd be more vast than the world. And therefore the the refuge is not easily exhaustible. So you can imagine it's more vast than the ocean. And if you wanted to try to exhaust the ocean using a teaspoon and taking out 1 teaspoon of water every day, you couldn't destroy that ocean. It would take forever, and it probably would replenish itself in the meantime. So that's the vastness or the power of having this refuge, having this uh, unblinded faith. And then there's another story that um, there was once a god of the heavens, and it was perceived that the god was about to die and be reborn as a pig. So there was this vision of that karma ripening, and so by mm, generating regret for the actions that was going to cause this rebirth, the god he took refuge into the Buddha Dharma and Sangha and was able to avert this rebirth. Of course, it was a god, so had some uh, powers beyond many of us. So maybe it was that easy. But it just shows you how the karma can change when this faith or conviction is placed on the refuge. And we can also think about the having faith in the three jewels is the basis of all of our Dharma practice. So, without having faith, our practice like, can't succeed, right? Can't just go through the motions. We have to develop it. So we have to, have this awareness that samsaric existence in general, it's suffering, and that all the lower realms of existence in particular they're extremely terrifying, right? So we have to take the refuge in the three jewels. And if we take this refuge with conviction, then we kind of have this insurance policy that helps us to avoid these lower realms. So we we have to take this refuge in this manner, right? We're talking about the manner, this faith, having this faith in the three jewels. we have this proper faith, then it um, prevents or protects our mind from entering the lower realms. So we take refuge in the Buddha, the teacher. And then we take this faithful refuge in the Dharma. And the Dharma is that which um, it's the truth, right? It's it's the aspect that we have to generate in our mind. Well, I guess you could say we transform our mind into the Dharma, or the Dharma into the mind. And the Buddha is the teacher of that Dharma. And then the third manner of going for refuge is taking this faithful refuge into our Sangha, our helpers, our friends. Anyone that helps us progress on the path. To have trust in those individuals. Our friends, maybe our family, everyone at the Buddha Center. People working in the shop. People providing us service, helping us with our health, shoveling our snow, whatever it might be. So if we take refuge in this manner, then it's all becomes easy. But it takes a little practice, right? We have to study these objects. We have to understand them. We have to know what the meaning is. And then we need to meditate on it. Meditate on it so it becomes second nature. We can we can think about this faith, this faith in the refuge, and dedicate all the merits that we created, considering and trying to change our minds to have this faithful experiences. There's an experience that doesn't guess but knows what the objects of refuge are and has that conviction. And we dedicate that. May our minds have this thought and that it be automatic. And if it's not, then, maybe it's through a few more meditations, a little studying, discussing with our friends. At some point, that faith will be generated. Until then, this dedication will not perish, but will be there until I have the thought that, yes, I have the faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Thank you, everyone.